Let's see if we can see it. There's
Ah,
Dave's
yeah, there it
Dave's
is.
frame
Dave's frame
hanging
is
from the
hanging up
ceiling.
there. Yeah, yeah.
And like I said, if you look, it's you can barely see pieces of it buried underneath a lot of car parts, but there's one buried underneath all that crap. There's a fender and another fender. There's the molds for the nose cone that I'm working on. One of
Yeah, yeah.
these years, I don't know if you've seen what was the musical Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh,
The
yeah.
the Jews would say next year in Jerusalem.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
next year in Jerusalem, I'll finish my
So
seven.
it's cool. I mean, first off, I'm Jim and you're David. Glad to
I'm
meet
Dave.
you. Yeah,
Nice to meet
cool. And you're in Ohio. I'm
Yep.
not. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. And A.
A boot.
Yeah.
So, what's the time difference? You guys are a couple hours ahead.
Yeah, 3 hours.
Okay. Oh, you're West Coast.
Behind. Yeah, I'm
Or behind, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, I was going to ask you the same thing that I asked Nathan. Basically, there's two questions. It's just like, why?
A big question.
And the second question is how long? Now, in your case, it's you don't know how long because it's hanging in a shed.
Yeah. Yeah, it got stalled out a little bit. So, well, first, is this glare or anything? Do you need me to adjust the light or the camera or
Nope.
anything?
Hell
Okay, I've never
no.
used any
No.
of this. So,
We're very low tech here, and I don't want to
Okay.
change it. I mean, just like we were chatting about earlier, the thing I really enjoyed about Nathan is that he's real, and
Yeah.
that's all I've ever wanted to be. I am not a presenter. I'm an old guy bashing around the shed, and you guys actually are something. I would aspire to my next seven to do a scratch build like you guys did, but
Yeah.
it was. It was, in my case, it was just a situation where I had two kids who wanted to go into trades. One wanted to be a mechanic, and the other wanted to be an aircraft structures mechanic. They both ended up getting there. So this was just a good vehicle for them to see if this is maybe the direction they wanted to go.
Yeah. And you build something together. Like, it's awesome.
It was a terrific experience. I mean, people ask me how much my car's worth, and it's not worth anything because it'll never get sold.
Yeah, priceless or worthless, however you want to look at it. Yeah,
exactly right. So I've hit the record button. So I'm gonna do a little preamble, and basically I say greetings world and greetings Seven Spot. It's time again, but this time it's not for a virtual and socially distant sevens. It's time for how could you do this to me? Tell me why, and how long has this been going on?
Yeah. Big questions. Some little questions, but big answers.
Yeah. So, folks, we've got, as you can see on the screen, David. Now, am I saying it right? Basili or Basile?
Basili is how I
okay. Yeah, come si dice in Italian Basili, no?
Yeah, your Italian's better than mine. So yeah.
Basili. Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm Jim. So, tell me, David. I mean, I've got a nice recording that I recorded yesterday with your friend Nathan, who I had no idea about because he's not a member of Seven Spot. He's just somebody and he's obviously a mentor to you. And he showed me your seven hanging up on the wall in a shed. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about where mine's at right now. So
okay, so here's the question: why, when, how did you come upon the idea and why did you decide to build a car?
So I was always a mechanic. Mine started over 10 years ago now, I'd say. I want to say it was late 2009, 2010.
Yep.
I was always a mechanic. I was always in the garage. I was always, never really had a problem with that. I was never a fabricator. Like I tried welding once or twice kind of thing. And like I could use an angle grinder, but little stuff, but not like building a whole car from scratch was a lot. I had a mutual friend. We worked all at the same factory. I didn't know Nathan yet, but we had a mutual friend, and he sent me Nathan's way. So I had desires, like who doesn't want to build something cool, like from the ground up? Like this is like something unique, something that you could be proud of and be like, I did this. I didn't just tune it a little bit. I just put different wheels on it. You built it from the ground up. And that's just something that always appealed to me. Always playing with my hands, always in the garage. So talked to Nathan a little bit, and then it kind of I almost blame fate, destiny, however you want to blame it. I had a car. It was daily driving, ran good, but it was an older car. I had full coverage insurance. Had hit a horse. Luckily, just like barely. I live in Amish country, and one of the Amish horses got loose.
Sure, yeah.
So there was some cosmetic damage, but it was enough. It got totaled out. So I kept the car, and they paid me out for the car. And they paid me about what I paid for it. So it was pretty much free car, free parts donor at least. It was a Eagle Talon, basically a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Yeah.
So those are front wheel drive based. So obviously that's an issue with the 7. Well, there's a gentleman that makes bell housing adapters to use his Toyota Supra transmission. And talking to my girlfriend's cousin, and he's like, "Oh, I've got a Supra transmission. Oh, I've even got the suspension." And he's like, "I'm not going to use it because they bought a couple different newer models, so they weren't interchangeable." He's like, "You could just have all those parts." So I got a free donor car. I got free suspension parts. I got pretty much all the hard parts you need for pretty much as low cost as you can get it. And then Nate's a wonderful person. He loves to help, loves to, teach. He pretty much self-taught fabricator. So he's amazing at it for no formal training, no, job training, nothing. So he was all in. I had a big garage space at the time. So how could I say no? He brought his welder over, and we started cutting and grinding the frame.
That was the question I was going to say. Did you build your own fabricating table, and did you do the welding, or was this a joint effort?
Yeah. So we got they have that MDF thick fiberboard stuff. Got a sheet of that. Got some sawhorses. Leveled it all off to build a build table with. I had a big enough garage that I could just leave that in place. I didn't have to take it up, put it down. And then got some structure, some 1-inch steel tube. And Nathan already had built his car was running and driving already. So he had already had that experience from building his, scratch tube build. And then, we looked around. I'm a bigger guy. I'm 250 pounds. So I like to be a little comfortable. So we looked around, and you can get the different size frames. So I settled on the 442 frame. It's a little bigger in every dimension. And then the engine I'm using is a larger 4-cylinder in the 4-cylinder world. So we figured that'll fit everything. Engine's also a turbo, so we figured that'll give it a little more room in the engine bay for turbo and everything. So we went with that, printed out the schematics and figured out what we needed and got the tube and went to work. He did. Obviously, he had the welding experience, but so he started in on the welding. But as we went along, I just did a little more and practiced a little more to the point where I got comfortable enough where I could at least, I was happy with tack welds and getting stuff started and going even if he wasn't there. So that progressed pretty well. We got the frame done, stripped out the donor car, did the normal stuff. That probably took. We were both working full-time jobs at the time. He'd swing by after work sometimes, and obviously I could do whatever when I was there. I lived there, so that probably took the better part of a year and a half. And then I'm trying to remember. It's been a while, so
that was my next question. Did you go full on into it and then kind of hit a place like I know when I was building my car, I got to midstream and it kind of my feet kind of settled down in the muck and I didn't really make a whole bunch of progress and it really felt like I couldn't really see that little light at the end of the tunnel. And so I was wondering where you are and where did that point happen for you?
Yeah. I know we got a lot done. We got all the hard parts, some odds and ends I ordered, did the wire harness, stripped that down of all the extra stuff I didn't need. I actually like wiring and electrical. So that was enjoyable almost for me. And I was living with the girlfriend at the time. We broke up. So when we broke up, we decided she was going to keep the house. So then I was moving. So that's when my frame and let's see, I'm trying to remember which parts. My frame and the engine. Nate had just bought a house with a little garage, so he said, okay, we can store it in here. But it's a real small 2-car garage, so we didn't really have room to set it up or anything, but there was room to store it. So we put some of those parts there. Where I moved, it has like a little 1-car garage, but like I have a roommate, so like he was using it to park, but I stored some of the other parts there, so that way everything was at least still in. I didn't give up on it. Unfortunately, that's been 6, 7, 8 years. It's been a while.
Well, that's why we're doing this, trying to
Yeah.
rekindle the flame, right?
Yeah, like, and that's we were working. Life gets away from you. Yeah, like for a while I was working 3 jobs. For a while we were working 60-hour weeks. I have my daily drivers I work on. I have a motorcycle I work on. So like, it just gets away from you. And at this point, I'm glad this happened now. Even so, I worked for a factory for years. After Corona last year, the pandemic, I no longer work there. So I opened a motorcycle shop. So I have enough room now.
You're going to have room.
Yeah, and I have enough time now because I have a new business.
Yeah.
I'm not like slammed yet or anything.
Yeah.
So that's been the goal in the last few months. Actually was like, I'm making room at the shop. I'm still organized and still getting going. New business and everything. But the plan was to pull a frame over here and I get all my other hard parts over here and keep going. Because I figured if I'm ever going to have the time, the space, the situation to do it, then now is probably the time. So.
Well, that sounds just great. I mean, I ended up moving mine I built from a kit, so it's a different situation. But I did move mine from 2 garages already. So, and it's presently in a 3rd. So, but it's built now, so just in storage. So anyway, so I know the complications that life can throw at you, and it's especially midstream when you've got a space frame there, and everybody. Mine was a roller at least, but and so I could just roll it into a new garage. But there's plenty of stuff, everywhere. I can show you pictures, and it's just like bedlam. Yeah. So basically that's it. I'm going to say congratulations for rekindling the flame.
Thank you very much.
No problem. If it's all right with you, you're on 7 Spot. Please stay tuned. We're going to be putting these little vignettes up, yours included, but just little things to keep us motivated. Just a little phrase, like Dennis Palatoff made a nice little statement about why he builds. And I'm going to start putting these things up just so that we can look at it and say, you know what, maybe this weekend I'll go down to the shed.
Yeah, good.
So
that's
David,
what we need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Motivation sometimes. So.
Absolutely. So David, I'm going to say, I promise I'd keep this short, and I'm waiting for your pictures whenever you send them along, because we're going to build a little library with your build as far as we can put that up on YouTube and on 7 Spot. And for now, I'm going to say thank you so very much. For giving us this time to do this, and I wish you all the best in your build, and I'm looking forward to seeing even more of what you've got coming over on 7 Spot. How's that sound?
That sounds wonderful. Thank you very much for getting in contact for me.
Oh no, my pleasure. We're all in this COVID mess still, and in Canada, anyways. We're in big lockdown here. We're not even allowed to drive in our province.
Oh wow!
So, So for me, here I am in the basement of my house,
just trying to do something. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm going to say thanks. Wish you all the best. And I'm looking forward to following what's happening for you, David. So cheers for now.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day for yourself, too.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.